I wanted to do a thought experiment with you, and you can do this as a visualization, or you can take it just as a metaphorical way of thinking about life. And you might have heard of this metaphor before, you've probably heard this story before, but I thought we would go into it together today to look at some of the different areas and to just think it through as a kind of brainstorming. So imagine, if you will, that one day you wake up and as you're waking up, you realize you are not in your usual bed. And as you come out of sleep and you look around and you rub your eyes, you look and notice that you are not in your usual bedroom. You are somewhere you have never been before. So before we go any further, I need your help. Please do leave me a comment. Subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to grow this channel. And after a few moments, it occurs to you that you are on a ship. You have woken up at sea. You don't know how you got there. You don't remember boarding the ship. You don't know who else is around. And you don't know what's going on or how you're going to make sense of this situation. So you get up and you get dressed and you go out of the room and you start to explore the ship. You see immediately that it is a big ship and there's many rooms. You're walking through corridors and you're wondering who you can find to explain your situation, who you can find to say where you came from, what you're doing, and where you're going. You knock on one of the doors, and someone says, "Come in," and you open the door. And in this room, you see two people playing chess. They're playing a game of chess, and they're making moves, and they're paying no attention to you, and paying all of their attention to playing the game. They don't even look up. And you say, "Excuse me, what's going on here? How did I get here? Where is this ship going? Where has it come from?" And both of them ignore you. They simply keep playing their game. And you try again to interrupt, you try again to try and talk to them, and they even talk to each other for a little bit, but they completely ignore you. They are so engrossed in this game that you get no answers from them. So you decide to go along. You go out and you explore some other rooms. You find some other people and you talk to them and they talk to you. And all the while you're asking them, where have I come from? How did I get here? Where is this ship going? And every person you meet doesn't know the answer. They simply say, "I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know how to answer these questions. Sorry, I can't help you." Eventually, you make your way up onto the main deck, and you can see the sea breeze, and you can hear the waves, and you can see that actually this ship is traveling. It's traveling at quite a fast pace. And you can also see, as you look around, that there's no land in sight. You are very much alone and isolated on this ship. An old man comes up to you and he says, "Very nice weather today, isn't it?" And you notice, well, it is quite a nice day. And despite your stress of not knowing where you've come from or where you're going, you seem to agree, and this old man seems all right. And you decide to ask him, "Old man, do you know where we've come from? Do you know where we're going?" And the old man, like everyone else, says, "No, I don't know where we've come from, and I don't know where we're going. But the captain might know." So you think, I can find the captain. But before you go off and try and find the captain, the old man says, "Make sure you enjoy today. Make sure you cherish this nice weather, because I have lived through some terrible storms, some horrifying hurricanes, when stormy weather has very much battered down on this ship. So you head off and you make your way upwards and you try and find the main deck, the bridge where the ship is controlled. And through passing some other people and winding around and sort of twisting and turning and figuring out how to get there, you think you have found the right spot, and indeed you have found the bridge, and you knock on the door and there's no answer, and you decide to try the door, and you open it and you walk into the bridge to find the whole place empty. There is no one steering the ship. There is no one at the helm. And you look at all the controls and there's lots of buttons and lots of controllers and numbers and lights and levers, and you have no idea how to control the thing. You have no idea what you should do, and you think maybe I should try and stop the ship. Maybe I should try and steer the ship. But of course you know nothing about navigation. You know nothing about where you're going or where you're coming from or which direction you should even go or whether that would even achieve anything. And this metaphor of the ship that you wake up on is, of course, as you have realized, the metaphor of life. You don't know where we're going. You don't know where we've come from. And of course, people have answers to that. People have discovered that. And it's not to say that the answers are not out there. It's not to say that you can't find people who have discovered certain things about the nature of existence and reality. And it's not to say that the person who is not at the helm is not necessarily at the driving seat. It might be that the person who's in charge, your maker as such, is somewhere else. And in fact, if we continue on with this metaphor, it's a very elaborate metaphor, which we can, extend indefinitely, and we could probably even turn it into a small movie. But one of the twists you find is that the person who knows best and who knows most is not found in the captain's cabin. They're actually down in the hidden corners in the gallows, and they're very secretive, and you never really know until after you've met the person. Yeah, you never really know until after the fact that you've met this person. And another thing about this ship, which I needed to mention, is that some of the time, people disappear. People disappear without a trace, without any warning. And you have no idea where they go. And it is a very mysterious situation to be in life. It is a very tricky thing to actually sit down and confront this mystery, to take a look at just what on earth is this situation that I have found myself in. And it is even possible, with a little bit of experience and a little bit of adventurousness, to grow quite a liking for this sense of the mystery, to grow an appetite for the mystery, to be able to enjoy this unsettledness with a kind of playfulness, with a kind of, prickly curiosity. And of course there's many distressing things in life. There's many confusing and challenging things. There's no doubt about it. But if we can just sense a little bit more of the mystery, a little bit more of the unknown, then I believe that our smooth sailing would be much more appreciated, and the storms we encounter would be a little bit more easy to weather.